been revealed today that 1 in 7 women with children or who are expecting a baby have felt pushed out at work. They felt they've had to leave their jobs for all sorts of reasons, including a lack of flexible hours and unfair treatment by the boss or colleagues. So why do mothers still feel that they get a tough time of it? Have we moved on at all? Because there's been all sorts of legislation introduced over the last 20 years. There's going to be new legislation introduced in April. How much better do you think it's getting for women having kids?
I mean, I think it's always going to be tough for men and women, anybody having children, parents, changing that dynamic, because what you're really doing is coming back to your old role. Maybe you have some kind of appraisal to come up to speed, but you're not your old self, you know. And I know as a woman, I think what we do tend to do is pretend to be our old self. And maybe, you know, we were talking in the first half about shrinking ourselves. I think you shrink your child's existence, which sounds dreadful, but you don't want to be this unreliable employee that will have to rush off to do the school run. So you minimise your new motherhood role and you try to be your old self. And I think, you know, anyone that's...
Your old child-free self.
Yeah, and you're just not that person anymore. And I think you wait for things to get easier and get less tiring, and they don't. You just have a new set of problems as the children get older. They're dependents forever, you know. Yeah. That sounds dreadful, doesn't it? I don't think it's...
I think it's accurate.
I like that idea of old self and new self. Do you relate to that, Myleene? Did you become a different Myleene?
I don't even recognise myself before children now. The fact that I just sit in the bath for 2 hours and top up the water if it got a bit cold and read a book. I'm like, who is
Drink
that?
wine.
Who was that person? I just think it's just never happened. And also just never that idea that niggle all the time of worrying about something, whether I've forgotten something or if the kids are okay or if they've checked in or if they haven't checked in.
You're never mentally free.
Never.
Okay. Like, even if you go out and you get blasted drunk, like a lot of women do when they first go out, it's there in the back of your head all the time. That never changes. I always say to people, stop thinking about, oh, I just want to get back to my old self. Think of it as in BC, you know, like before Christ, before children. It's a long, long time ago. Let it fade, let it fade, because you do change so much.
But those stats that you were saying about, you know, returning after pregnancy, as Katie pointed out, this is forever. Because I know, like, having teenagers now and a 6-year-old, the job requirements as a mother, they have absolutely increased.
Do you find this stage harder than the baby stage?
100%. I really do, in such different ways, because I'm just trying to keep everyone alive at the moment. And they just don't see the dangers.
Do you think blokes, and I mean, you know, we can't obviously talk for men, but I'm just saying, I wonder if many of them have that feeling of becoming a new self. Or whether it's just things have changed in their life, but they are still essentially the person that they were, rather than that fundamental shift that you were talking about.
Yeah, maybe they don't experience...
Did Richie? Do you think he felt he became a new Richie?
I definitely think there were changes for him. Of course, it's not going to be around body image and hormones. I don't know if they experienced the same guilt as us, but definitely I think Richie would have felt not burdened, but this huge responsibility on him around, you know, keeping a young child alive, supporting his wife, being a good... Like, am I a good dad? Asking yourself those questions. I think no doubt it changes for both of you, but in very different ways. And then you have to be there for each other in a different way. And some part of the old relationship maybe either goes forever or gets slightly put on the back burner, and you both have to be quite mature about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, this whole thing about, you know, parental leave. They're going to try and make it more available to men and women to be able to take time off, to share it. They've been trying to promote this for such a long time.
That's if you've got someone to share it with. You know, when you've been a single mum, the onus is on you. The buck stops with you. You are the mum and the dad. I have been in those situations. I've been very, very fortunate because I've been able to either bring my children with me or get extra help. There's some people who don't get any help whatsoever, so giving them more time isn't going to assist them. It's going to maybe make it even worse. The financial pressures on the family will be even greater. The blended family is the largest growing unit that we have now, so looking to the future. And I am part of some of the legislation that has been changed, which I'm really trying to help push through for parents, but ultimately the legislation can't always reflect every single person's situation.
I know. I mean, why do you think, Nadia, that the uptake of this shared parental leave is so low? I mean, men do take sort of paternity leave, but it is relatively small. But trying to introduce this notion of let's just share it completely just doesn't seem to be happening.
We're still a long way off with that with society, and I think that, I mean, like, if somebody had said to me, OK, you know, you can you can go back to work and Mark can say, I actually wouldn't have wanted that. Right. I wouldn't want that. So never mind what he may or may not want. I wouldn't have wanted that. Because I really wanted to be at home. I wanted to breastfeed. I mean, I didn't end up being at home because, of course, I was working. You become 3 people, right? Yeah. But what and actually, Mark and I were talking about this the other day. I was saying, isn't it incredible when you think about it? We never had a single conversation about how things would work with us once we'd had children.
I'm guilty of that too, yeah.
And every single woman that I've asked since we had that conversation, every single woman has said, no, we never had that conversation. I think we do it on a wing and a prayer. Oh, I love this person.
Would you have believed it if you had? Because I
think we wouldn't know what to ask for, because when it happens, when you have a child, everything in life changes so much. But that's why I think it's important to keep having the conversation. It takes a village, they say, to bring up a child. Well, it takes a village to help other couples as well. So, you know, if I had my time again, I would... Obviously, you don't know the nuances that are going to come in, but the basics. So if we both get offered a great job, I would like us to always have a discussion about who takes it, and not like I did. I would always go, oh, well, that would be Mark. No, he's a very, like, kind and fair man. But when neither of us had discussed it, I was totally brainwashed by society that I would have to make it fit for him. Yeah. Like, you know, Maddie was days old and he went off to the North Pole. You know, you can't even phone anyone in the North Pole.
I don't think a conversation would have factored that possibility in.
And also, you went back, you know, really early, didn't you?
Yeah, because he was in the North Pole. So I was standing, bleeding, doing a voiceover like this, unable to sit down. And the producer, because it was a voiceover for the series that I'd shot, she was sat in a glass box and I'm looking through, seeing my baby just being rocked on this perfectly lovely woman that didn't really know why she had this baby. And it was just awful, but self-employed. Yeah. There's no choice. We're both self-employed. You can't not work.
Like, to have that conversation pre-children, how can you promise somebody, listen, I'm going to be this sort of mum?
Not promise.
Predict.
But I think just have a bit of a look at the lie of the land. How does your partner actually think? Because if they were to say, oh, God, absolutely no way. Is that actually going to work for you? Do you love them?
But you don't know the children.
Thing in that in terms of the small uptake there is of paternal leave, it tends to be in more affluent couples. Because let's be honest, you know, for a lot of people that are, you know, working really hard to make ends meet, it's often the case that the guy earns more, and so if he takes more time off work, then, you know, their joint income will diminish, and they can't afford for that to happen. So, I mean, it's not necessarily choice that everyone has. It's like, well, it's a choice, but...
And that's the kind of legislation we want to hear them talking about. It's like, how can we do that balance? As Jane was saying last week, you know, a woman's career can be going like this. She has a baby and it just drops off. So we talked about financial independence earlier. Well, like, how are we going to be more supportive?
But what conversation did you and Richie have, though, then, Katie? Because... He does more of the childcare, doesn't he?
Yeah, we didn't have that conversation. And in the very beginning, when the children were sort of babies and toddlers, we both tried to keep our careers going. And, you know, he was a carpenter, a loft converter. He had his own business that he was really proud of and he'd spent many years working on before he met me. And we juggled it and we had childcare. And then actually having a third person of childcare became another person to manage. And then you both need to earn enough to pay for that childcare.
It's like if you send them to nursery, it's the same thing, isn't it? You're almost spending more, some people, than they're earning.
I would hate to sit here and say, well, let me tell you how you do it right, because I would say we didn't get it right and it was constantly evolving and one person would feel resentful and then that would affect the relationship. We're in a better place now, but then our children are 11 and 8, you know,
so did you get to a situation with that you did have to sit down and have a conversation, a frank conversation?
No, we just had passive-aggressive WhatsApps and we weren't mature adults at all. No.
Who is mature adult when they're exhausted and they feel like they're doing all the work and they've got a baby hanging off their boob?
Do you know what? Another day we have to discuss passive-aggressive WhatsApp.
Yes,
really good subject.
But we have to be open and share some of them.
Lovely.